Yes, President Obama and Vice President Biden, thank you very much for the signed picture you sent me for some of the articles I've written in support of some of the things that you're trying to accomplish to take this country away from the vested interests that have so destroyed through our greed the status quo against the disenfranchised. And I have a prima facie case for you against the banks. My grandmother, who died in the early 50s, left a small trust to 3 generations, having lived through the Depression. People make the mistake of thinking that they can somehow control things after their demise, which is never the case. In any event, I'm the 2nd generation recipient of this. This account was left to the Delaware Trust Company, which is a small Delaware bank where my family was from, where we knew the president directly and were treated as people, not as numbers. Then the bank started suffering takeovers in the mid-1990s by core states, which was still a responsible, humane, and caring trustee. And shortly thereafter, they were taken over by First Union. At the time, I had suffered an operation in Houston that laid me up for 10 years and took me to fall into debt. I have lived mostly in Mexico and in New York, where I had a small business, but I spent most of my time in Mexico, where one cannot possibly imagine paying for a house or a car by renting it. Interest rates would kill you, so you either pay cash or you don't acquire things. And so I've always been in the habit of paying cash. I started falling into debt due to this operation that took 10 years out of my life when I was flat on my back, that coincided with the Delaware Trust informing me that they were no longer going to adhere to the court order that ordered them to act exclusively on my investment schedule, which took the account that they had never touched in 15 years from my grandmother's death to my appearance on the scene. And I took that money in 15 years and multiplied it between 900 to 1,000-fold. So it's obvious I'm very capable with money and investments. And so then, shortly thereafter, the bank was hostilely taken, core states and First Union were hostilely taken over by WACHOVIA, who was an incredibly corrupt and arrogant trustee that never obeyed the trust instrument itself. It never paid up on the agreement I reached for them to get me out of debt and be able to rescue my assets, my homes and my properties from the decay they'd fallen into due to the decade I spent on my back. Not only that, I was hospitalized, and during that time and thereafter, WACHOVIA paid monies out of my account, right, left, and center, to third parties that they didn't even know, that didn't really substantiate what or wherefore they were trying to collect money of mine. And yet they've denied me money for MRIs. I have open wounds to my feet that go back to 1998 on the right foot and the year 2000 in the left foot, that have to this date not closed. And so I'm semi-disabled. I get around on a scooter. I came to the United States to try and solve this situation with WACHOVIA in 2003 and have remained here because I haven't been able to solve the situation. WACHOVIA went insofar as to stop paying my rental late 2008 and part of 2009, which led to my eviction on February 11th last year, because the weather was too cold, and with open wounds on my feet, I couldn't go out in the cold weather and make it to court. And not aware of how the system works here, I got thrown out by the marshal. I now am facing a similar situation Wachovia, knowing how they had treated me, now that they've been taken over by Wells Fargo, I'm sure fearing that their new owners would take a dim view of how they've treated me, denying me things like doctor's bills and MRIs to ascertain whether or not the dissolving bones in my feet have stopped dissolving and whether the infection is under control, and whether I also have osteomyelitis in the left foot. Got rid of my account to Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, and US Trust, which I thought would be probably a good move. It turns out they're even more inhumane than Wachovia. However, Wachovia, in their 10-year tenure as my trustee, managed to steal, abscond, disappear, or lose 6/7 of my money. So, having been a wealthy woman, well respected, healthy, I have been rendered homeless twice, about to be homeless thrice, because I have already been notified by the marshal of my impending eviction, and have been visited twice in my absence by Adult Protective Services. This is the charity the banks have towards you. Bank of America has had me penniless since their takeover in March. They've categorically told me, oh, well, this month there's no income. Then for October they said, oh, the income for October is $350, but we'll be kind enough to let you have $2,700. And they suggest that I should go into assisted living. Well, I don't know. I have a very vital person. I'm about to embark on the most important project of my lifetime, which is a foundation to take the world back from the damage we've wreaked on it. And I'm not a disposable piece of garbage that you just throw away, nor will I be treated thus. And Bank of America also says that I should look for another trustee, because since I don't kowtow to being told what to do by someone that lends me a service, and they expect me to furnish them with a budget and all these things, they're lending me a service, I'm not lending them a service. The arrogance of these people is truly and unbelievably out of all reason. And both Wachovia and US Trust say that this is a discretionary account, and hence they want to discretion me into oblivion as though I don't exist. So I am begging you, please, for help, or I will end up on the street. I have open injuries to my feet. I can't wear closed shoes. I will lose my toes, my limbs, or my life. All because of these irresponsible, thieving banks.